Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the video on the channel. In today's video, we'll be talking about Wizard101 responding to the Darkmoor backlash. Now, in case you've been sleeping under a rock or whatever the past, 4 days or so, past week, about that time frame, Wizard101 has been putting out teasers for the update. So we've seen stuff like Empower, Dark Pact, Shrike, Dark Surge, all that stuff getting nerfed, getting audited, and changed. And basically, the entire community is very upset about it. Everyone, PvE, PvP, Raiders, everyone's been upset about it, right? Also, the heal cap. That is terrible because 90% of the community said they wanted it, and 10% said that oh no, what, like this, we don't want this. And they're listening to the 10% because why I don't really know. I guess they like them. I don't really know. I don't get it. But we do have a tweet from Cam here, who obviously works at King's Isle and whatnot. So I'm gonna throw that up on the screen for y'all here any moment. So Cam came out on Twitter and basically responded to the backlash here. And he said, "Hello all, some of you may have seen some spells teased on my streams recently. And since then, we've decided to make some changes based on the feedback. Here are their updated versions. There are many more teasers to come. All feedback is welcome." Now, before we even get into these changes and whatnot, I do want to say, good on KI for actually being like speedy with this. It actually feels like they listened because we've been complaining about this for like 3 or 4 days, and they came out and said, yo, okay, we're changing it. I'd love to see this more going forward. There's been problems in the game for years, like jading, dual school's been broken, right? And there's tons of other spells like skills, like so many problems over the years the community's complained about every day for years that just don't get changed. So just seeing them like talk like this, address it, and be like, yo, we're gonna fix it, it actually feels good. It actually feels like I'm paying for the game, paying for the product, right? But the past year, what has happened, you've got maybe one good update in 9 months, even though you're paying monthly for the game, right? So what I'm saying here basically is if we get more stuff like this from KI going forward, even like month to month, that will be great for the game, and it'll actually make the community feel listened to and whatnot. So I just want to give them flowers, give them props where it is due, and look back at whatever the hell they did this year. Don't do that again. Don't ignore the community. Just listen to them. That's all you have to do. Very simple, right? But anyways, let's get into the changes now. So with Dark Surge, it's basically the same thing. They updated the text, like I said in my last video, because before it said it gave it new pips, which didn't make any sense considering Archmastery pips cannot be new pips. So they did take the feedback and update the spell text. So shout out to your boy Liam, of course. And then they listened to the community's feedback that 10% on your lash was, too much of a penalty. So they put it down to 5%. So that's a very good change. I think 5% is a reasonable amount of HP. This is still going to be an indirect buff to life, though. It's just kind of how the cards unfold, right? Heal counters are obviously worse than the actual healing itself. And with no heal cap coming in the update, this is just an indirect buff to Jades and whatnot, unfortunately. So, it is what it is, but at least they did listen to the community on this one, and you actually might see it be used now. So that is good. Next up, we have Empower. Now, this spell got changed, but I don't really think it's a good change, in my opinion. So basically, they made Empower 0 pips instead of 1 pip. So that just means you gain an extra pip because you're taking 5% of your HP. I mean, honestly, I kind of said this on stream when I addressed the new Empower and the new Pact, right? they can try to re-audit it, and as you can see, they tried something with it being 0 pips, which I think honestly might be really good for raiders specifically. But as for PvP, I don't really know how good it's gonna be, you know what I mean? Simply because, well, steel pip is simply just better, right? But also, you can't counter your weakness anymore, right? Half of the reason you ran Empower in PvE raids or PvP was to counter your weakness and get tempo back, right? You no longer can do that with Empower, right? With the one they put before and the one with this one now, it's no longer a weakness counter. Same thing with Dark Pact, which we'll look at next year. I'll probably put them side by side. But they basically made these 0 pips, and that's it. It's the same spell as a couple days ago, but it's 0 pips now, right? So if I use a Dark Tribute, I'm gaining 235 blades for 0 pips, which doesn't sound bad on paper, right? But 5% of your HP is, you know, it's a okay chunk, right? Not to mention, you can just simply just impair, right? Let's say you Dark Tribute and I click impair. We're basically neutral, but you took 5% of your HP, right? But with Empower, it's slightly different, because with Empower, you can't just get rid of the pips or counter pips. You know, like there's not like mana burn in the game or like bounce silent in the game anymore, right? So Empower might actually see some usage on like Dark Pact here. It's just the fact that you're taking a percentage of your health or damage for nothing because it can get countered. It's just not worth it. We're gonna go through some of the comments here. So we have Fred saying the Dark Surge change is a good one, which I think almost everyone agrees. I'm really gonna miss Empowers, taking off weaknesses. Again, it's kind of a legacy thing in the game that the community is used to. At the very least, y'all, I'm hoping for, you know, standard PvE content. They can have a Path A and Path B Empower, you know, so you can have your OG Empower and just put that in main deck or something. But even then, though, I feel like most people run Empower inside, so they have to ban the TC, obviously, in PvP. But I don't know, if they keep the OG Empower TC, then just like ban it from PvP so PvE players can actually run it. That also could be a good solution as well, y'all. And then, of course, anytime Wizard101 adds any new spells, you know, ever since Rochambeau came out, there's a lot of people in the community who will say stuff like, I've been playing the game since 2008, can't understand how to read the cards, right? This is simply just someone who doesn't know how Rochambeau works and all, which again, I can completely get it, right? It's very difficult if you're not like very in touch with the community, or like you don't look up guides online. You know, like I have like multiple Rochambeau guides on the channel. I think some other people made some as well. But a lot of the time, the game does a very bad job at teaching the players that, and the players don't go out and like do their research online to learn about this stuff. So, you know, you do see comments like this, and there's another one, you know, please explain like what this is saying. You always see comments like this all the time. It's pretty funny. We have another comment saying, quit changing spells, make new ones, and leave the old ones alone, which honestly, I can agree with that quite heavily. That's a very popular community opinion. Especially more on the PvE end of things. They don't want their legacy game to be, you know, shifted and changed, which I completely understand. At this point, is there any spell that you haven't ruined with all these cryptic descriptions that you need the damn Rosetta Stone to translate? Oh my god, it's like you can't really be mad at the casual PvEers for this, right? Like, it's just, like I said, it's just because they don't do their online research. Like, they don't look up videos or like guides or anything. They just rely solely on the game to teach them, and the game does such a bad job of teaching them. Like, I made this short a while ago. It like did very well, like 50,000 views, and one of the top comments on that, I was like making fun of a noob, and they're like, oh well, you should not make fun of him, and you should, you know, teach him instead. It's not his fault the game does such a bad job at teaching them, which, I mean, honestly, like, I get it, right? That's what I'm talking about in this video and all. But I don't know. I feel like KI has made effort to go and make the description a lot better. Like, you can right click on stuff and it'll tell you what it actually does and whatnot, which is a good change. But people still can't figure it out, right? There's now a Rochambeau tutorial in the game. People still can't figure it out, right? So without guides like online, like myself or other creators, these people just don't really know what to do. You know, I know a long time ago, 2 years maybe, but they used to link like creators on their website. So like for example, like take my video, link it on the KI website for like a Rochambeau tutorial to like read what the fuck is going on and whatnot. I had like one of my PvP guides at the end of 4th age, I think, on there, or maybe start of 5th age, I don't remember. But I had one of my guides on there. I know a lot of other people have their guides on there as well, so that could be a helpful thing for the people, because again, they're kind of in their own bubble, just, you know, playing the game, checking the website, and that's it, right? They don't really look online, so that could be a good solution for that. But yeah, that's everything we got for the video today, y'all. What do you think about it? Let me know your thoughts and feedback in the comments below. Do you like the new changes? Personally, I think as long as they keep like the OG Empower, but like just ban it in advanced, so PvE players can still run like TC Empower to knock off weakness and have their, you know, legacy kind of game, I think that would be obviously great and fantastic and all. I think the new Empower could be pretty good for raiding, I want to say. I think there's some like cool gambit setups you can do now, which is pretty darn cool and whatnot. And then I think the Dark Tribute one honestly is just trash. Like, why would you take 5% of your health just to get countered? I don't know. And you don't knock off a weakness anymore. So like you can make it 70 blades, for example, it doesn't matter, saying it countered right away, and then you lose your health, right? So not good for that one. But yeah, I mean, the positive here, I hope they can keep this momentum going forward. Just talk to us. Don't leave the community for like a whole year and don't update the game. It feels like absolute shit. It feels like absolute shit. So hopefully they do better on that going forward here. Leave a like and sub if you made it this far. If not, that's okay. I appreciate you all for watching. Hope to see you on the next one. Take care and goodbye.